Mic check 1 2. Ooh, I'm not there, am I? Boom! There we are. Tie Site Shadow Games Report, Part 3 of Halo Reach tonight. I love my Halo games. Been feeling like first person shooters lately, even though I've been playing a lot of third person, it seems like. So, had that itch, had to scratch it. Damn it, I got a freaking mosquito in here or something. Hate that crap, man. You got a mosquito and you can barely see it, but it's kind of like float in and out of the air sometimes. I swear to God, they're like sky ninjas. I've said this quite a few times to other people. I'm just like, I don't know how mosquitoes do it, but I mean, they can dodge, they can disappear in midair. I mean, these mofos are like interdimensional travelers, in my opinion. I'm joking, obviously. I've realized a lot of foreigners don't know how to joke. Like they really don't have any sense of humor. Um, Yeah, I mean, I'm every time I talk to a foreigner, I'm starting to see the divide between our culture. And there's a lot of ignorant foreigners that think that they know our culture and they really don't. And it just shows through the way that they talk and how they speak to Americans. Um, a lot of them just try to act superior whenever it's like you can point out their contradictions very easily. You can point out their stupidity very easily. And it is stupidity when it's willful. That's my difference between ignorance and stupidity. Ignorance is something that you don't mean to not know. It's like you're not trying to not know what you need to know. But stupidity is a willful ignorance. It's where you willfully try to not know something. And it's usually someone that has an agenda. You'll notice that very often. Stupidity and agendas seem to go together because they're working off belief in. And that's the way I see ideas. Ideas are kind of like programs, and some people are working off of certain programs that they've been taught early on during life, or through some kind of institution. You can get that through college. You can get that through the military. I mean, there's tons of ways to be manipulated, and people don't think about it very clearly. And a lot of foreigners don't even see their own levels of manipulation, how they've been cultured into their own programs. But anyways, let's get into the news. Enough rambling. We got Joe Biden actually doing a mostly decent job, I would say, with his speech today. I'm not a Joe Biden fan. I'm just letting you know that I can be unbiased. I mean, I try to cover certain leftist sources every now and again, even though they end up being very idiotic. Um, and I'll say that freely because, I mean, we need to be able to speak our minds, especially in this day and age whenever we're trying to be shut down in different ways. We've got online trolls, paid trolls trying to shut down speech, trying to ruin speech. They're literally just getting in the way of having good conversations, and that's where people have to report those people and push back. Get all the details on them as possible, and that includes even going as far as getting cyber security officials um, to look into them, because really we're in a state of war at this point, and if the people really want to protect themselves whenever we have an apparent, a very noticeable corrupt government, you have to push back in the most moral ways possible and defend yourself in the most moral way possible, too, that you can clear your name in court if you get to that level. Um, but yeah, I mean, people really need to think about their online security. They need to think about their personal security and not let anybody bully you. Like I said, get all the details possible on a person, and then even dig even deeper. I'm not saying you need to stalk anybody, but if you have a stalker, you need to let them know that you're not going to be fucked with. So, just putting that out there very clearly. I've already done my part with some stalkers that I'm dealing with. Uh, and, they're going to see the reverberations of all of this as they push along. So, you know, I actually, I'm a little bit different from other people because I'll actually push the person even further to do even more stupid things. Because, a lot of these people that get lured in through being called out on their lies, um, they're easy to tip over, and they're going to commit the crime themselves. You just allow them to do it, and that's allowing your enemy to destroy themselves. It's pretty easy once you set things up and you control them, especially whenever you have put into their head that you know I I control you whenever you don't go away. You don't realize that. I control you, and I always will until you go away. So, um, that's me living rent free in your head, and I'm going to run your place. I'm going to run that rent free apartment, and I hope you hate me for it. Okay? Like, if you don't get the clue for certain people, I'm not saying everybody, there's good people, you know. There's good people that I support and also support me, and I appreciate you. So don't think this is at you. Good people don't, I guess, act in bad faith and work against you and lie about you constantly. Like, we all know who the good people are. Um, it's why, Biden is being pushed out by the Democratic Party right now. It's just so obvious that he hates this country in so many different ways. And if not him, then someone that's controlling him. Um, and if you lie about that whenever he's letting in millions of illegals to vote in an election, Russia doesn't do that. Any nation that wants to hold its boundaries together or just its values, they don't let just another country into their own country. I mean, yeah, we let in some refugees, but we don't take in an entire population of somewhere. And that's something that could even happen uh, with the possibility of certain refugees from, I guess, the Gaza Strip. You know, we don't need to be taking in any refugees from countries that hate us, especially. And this administration has just gone off the rails with it. Now, he held together pretty well in his speech tonight, but there were still a lot of gaffes. It's this between state of him being a dementia patient and a halfway coherent person. But even at the same time, he's reading a script. So I'm not sure how coherent that is whenever he's reading from a script. That's just a robot. That's a nightly news anchor. You know, the programmed people that are literally just reading the program. I mean, they have a teleprompter and it's just reading off, all the stuff they have to say or they're fired. That's not journalism. Journalism is, I guess, pointing out the truth and then maybe adding a little bit of a flavor of your own opinion. Um, just for a little bit of speculation, but really you shouldn't even speculate too far without knowing the truth. And, you know, just for an example, I've had a lot of people, like, people I don't know that don't know me, obviously, like calling me a Jew for no reason. It's like they don't know me, and they're just like they just. I mean, they'll call you a Jew for no reason. Like I don't even look like a Jew, but it's like these people have no. They're mindless enemies. That was actually what this topic was supposed to be about for last night. Was just mindless enemies. That's what the last video was called. I mean, these mindless enemies that just attack you call you whatever they hate, and they don't care if it's a lie or not. Like, I have no Jewish ancestry. I actually had a relative that did the whole gene thing, and I mean, I found out that I had a lot more Viking and a lot more English. I already knew I had Irish. I mean, I'm not going to go through everything that I have, but it's just, it's things that you can probably look at me and tell that I probably have, you know. But these people, they're not even going off of like real metrics of any way. They just call everybody something. And, yeah, Jews are in a bad place right now, but I'm going to denounce anybody that calls for genocide of any kind, and that includes people that call genocide for Jews. I mean, I might not like my handful of Jews either, but I'm not gonna like call all Jews horrible whenever I can point to many that are actually really good and do good work. Um, so, the haters can be the haters. You can hate yourself, you can hate the world. I don't care. But those are the types of people that end up killing themselves. It's because they hate everything. They don't get any love from anybody. And it seems like they only team up with other haters because they seem to love their fellow hater. So, that's the true disorder in the world. The people that want to lie, that want to ruin everything, that ruin relationships, that even try to start uh, even verbal wars with other nations. Whenever it's clear, like right now, the American people are not against Russia. Actually, there's a lot of support for Russia within America. But, you have these stupid people that will support Russia, but just be against every American, not knowing that there's a difference between the American government and the American people. They're not the same. Just because it says in a document, we the people, doesn't mean the representatives represent us. Doesn't mean the representatives represent us. Just to clear that up. You have to realize that we are separate entities. The American people fight against the corrupt government, and we always have. The founding documents even tell us to do this. So get out of our politics. You foreign fakes. You have no say whatsoever. You might think that we don't have a say, and, maybe that's true to some point, but you literally have no say. I feel that. Because you have no control. And whatever happens is beyond our control most of the time, too. So, this war in Russia, we don't even want it. We want it to go away like everybody else. The Trump supporters, they want it to go away. I mean, left has gone completely right now because the right is against war and the left is for war. I mean, that's a complete flip in values from what I was taught growing up. So it just tells you it's complete bullshit. Okay? Um, and, I've actually known quite a few conservatives actually that have always been against war, especially being veterans. They know the hells of war. I literally have an uncle that's missing a leg from Vietnam. So, anybody that wants to tell me I should like join the military or something, it's like, no. Not unless I really have to. They're corrupt. And I wouldn't do it. I didn't do it, actually. I almost went into the Air Force. What are you doing, man? It says it's connected. Hurry up. I'm not in the mood for this crap tonight. This internet better get fixed quick. Alright, 1 second, y'all. Biden calls Harris Vice President Trump. Biden mistakenly calls himself commander-in-chief. Is he not? What? One second, y'all. I'm gonna fix my internet real quick. Okay. Hopefully that will fix it. There we go, that's better. President Joe Biden made a statement during a press conference where he mentioned following the advice of his commander-in-chief, which led to confusion and speculation on social media. He later clarified that he was referring to his chief of staff of the military, the commander-in-chief. Might be talking about Obama. Because he was VP to Obama. So he could still be stuck in that childish mindset. Being a follower.
I'm following the advice of my commander-in-chief, the chief of staff of the military, as well as the Secretary of Defense and our intelligence people. I'm following the advice.
It's so slurred and broken. It's hard to even call it that. And Biden did have a pre-selected reporters list. I'm actually going to go to my page for this one, because I have someone I would like to show off that I've been enjoying lately. Mr. Charles Clotton. I don't know much about this guy, but he started following me recently. And he started making videos. Come on, bro. This internet. Professional and full-time student at SUNY Brockport. I don't know what he's a professional in. Here to provide the truth and debunk the lies. He's a MAGA supporter, once in between, now right-sided centrist. Which, I mean, you know, it's kind of easy to do whenever everybody's going so far left that they're just communist scumbags. But anyway, silence from the entire room as Joe Biden mistakenly says nationally, I've been given a list of people to call on here. Dude.
A list of people to call on here. Reuters, questions. I've been given a list of people to call on here. Reuters, Jeff Mason.
Mr. President.
No, you cannot make this shit up. That is just too fucking funny. Oh my god. You can easily tell that was staged. Easily tell that the whole entire press conference is staged. He had a whole list of people to call on. There was at least a 5-second pause. Just silence. Silence. They didn't know what to do. If it was a real press conference, they would have been screaming out because he had a list in front of him of the people to call.
Shit's fishy.
Your questions, I've been given a list.
Seems like a pretty cool dude. But I just like to help out people whenever I can. Give them a little bit of extra views. No, I probably don't get as much as I really want to on this channel, but it's okay. Just starting out. Just called up my inherent content. Oh, wait, that's from yesterday. It's all from yesterday. What am I doing? This is from earlier. Making Ukraine a member of NATO means that the U.S. will be going to war against Russia as mandated by Article 5. 70% of Americans are against this. And like I said back during whenever Biden had his debate a few weeks ago, I honestly could not believe he had the nerve to even mention Article 5. But that's just more reason to believe that Joe Biden hates America and would be willing to send millions of Americans to die just for being a part of NATO, which I don't agree with. I mean, here's the crazy part. NATO didn't even exist whenever we helped out Europe back in World War II. Now, we were pulled into the war, but just to remind you, NATO didn't exist back then, and we went to war anyways. So, you know, there's lots of ways to be manipulated, and that's why false flags normally exist, is try to push the population into war. Which we can kind of now look back on Japan and kind of see that they were provoked in different ways and even pushed into war against us. Let's watch this real quick. How are we doing on time? 25 minutes. I'll do one more story after this, and then I'll get into the game.
Ukraine, the determination of every country represented here at NATO remains rock solid. We will do everything that we can. Allies will do everything that they can to ensure that Ukraine has what it needs to continue to deal with Russia's ongoing aggression against Ukraine, an aggression that gets worse with every passing day. Ukraine will become a member of NATO. Our purpose at the summit is to help build a bridge to that membership and to create a clear pathway for Ukraine moving forward.
Of course, we believe that Ukraine deserves to be a member of NATO and that this should happen sooner rather than later.
Ukraine, the determination.
Jory Taylor Green says this is the start of World War III. Pictured Vice President Trump and President Putin. From Nick Sorter, Biden slurring his way through a meeting with Zelensky has just announced yet another aid package for Ukraine. He says he signed it last
Today I'm
night
proud to
and details will
announce
be
new
announced
security
later.
systems package for Ukraine. Today I'm proud to announce new security systems package for Ukraine. This will be the 8th package I've authorized since we've signed the national security bill. The Secretary of Defense, we can talk about what the details of all that are. I signed it yesterday, or last night, I guess. And we're working with our NATO allies to ensure Ukraine is flying F-16s this summer. And we'll show the world that we stand with Ukraine now and in the future. So, Mr. President, thank you again for being here. We got a lot of work to do together, and I yield the floor to you. Today I'm proud to announce new security systems package for Ukraine. This will be the 8th package.
The 8th package? Jesus. Biden open to talks with world leaders, excluding Putin for now. I thought he talked to Putin earlier. I had someone calling me telling me like, "Did you hear Putin talking to Biden?" I was like, no." Let's see if anything comes up. Actually, let me read this. Just remember this is from Grok, so it has a possibility of being wrong. President Biden expressed his readiness to engage with world leaders, including Russian President Putin and Chinese President Xi Jinping, both now and the future. He emphasized his preparedness to deal with any world leader, but clarified that he is not currently willing to engage in direct talks with Putin unless Putin changes his behavior, particularly regarding Ukraine. Biden's stance reflects a firm but cautious approach to international diplomacy, balancing readiness for dialogue with a clear stance on issues of international concern. Ladies and gentlemen, President Putin, he's gonna beat President Putin. What?
And now I want to hand it over to the President of Ukraine, who has as much courage as he has determination. Ladies and gentlemen, President Putin. President Putin. You're going to beat President Putin. President Zelensky. I'm so focused on beating Putin.
Wow. Did he? I don't even remember this part in the speech.
President of Ukraine, who has as much courage as he has determination. Ladies and gentlemen, President Putin. President Putin. You're going to beat President Putin. President Zelensky. I'm so focused on beating Putin, we got to worry about it. Anyway,
Oh my god.
President.
Just shut up and get out of here. Actually, I'm gonna repost this. I know it's from the Biden Harris HQ, but that's still pretty funny. He's like, "Oh, I actually caught my gaffe. That's not President Putin." Tesla revives Model 3, long range. Don't care. Biden questions Trump's inactivity. Biden to public, hear out Trump. What? During a press conference, President Joe Biden encouraged the American public to listen to former President Donald Trump. This statement was met with a variety of reactions on social media, with some users expressing surprise and amusement, while others agreed with sentiment, indicating a